الرحيم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. Sufi Council of Toronto would like to thank the Spiritual Society Masjid for hosting today's event. Our Welfare and Social Service Department is working hard to get our Muslim community involved in our masjids. Some of the issues that are affecting our society today is lack of information and lack of education. Some of the issues in our society can be related to individual rights, human rights, religious rights, domestic rights, parenting issues, and health issues. In our council, we have individuals who are volunteering their time teaching in general public and spreading awareness. Those are politicians, lawyers, teachers, and doctors. Today's event will underline the importance of your health. Healthful Ramadan should be considered for everyone. This seminar will reflect on health issues, weight issues, and dealing with certain illnesses. Our guest is a proud Canadian Muslim who has dedicated his time today. Dr. Muffaqam Shah was born and raised in Markham, Ontario. He had the honor of attending and graduating medical school from the prestigious institution, Deccan College of Medical Sciences in Hyderabad, India. Some of his accolades during that time include graduating in the first division and receiving gold medal at the highest marks in general surgery. MashaAllah. He completed clinical clerkships in the primary care radiology and neuroradiology respectful form, Harvard Medical School and Yale School of Medicine. MashaAllah. He is a registered medical practitioner certified by the Telangana State Medical Council in India, and he is currently working towards securing a medical residency in diagnostic radiology and position in USA. He recently gave multiple talks and interviews at his alma mater institution about the importance, effectiveness of nutritional therapy in managing obesity, diabetes, gout, and other lifestyle diseases. The importance of effectiveness of nutritional therapy for managing obesity, diabetes, gout. He is someone who has experienced firsthand the struggle of living with obesity, and he is able to successfully lose 141 pounds in 9 months without any surgeries or medications. Now he would like to speak to you all about some of the ways you can incorporate his nutritional lifestyle advice to possibly manage your own co-morbidities. Since we're in the settings of the beautiful month of Ramadan, Dr. Shah would also like to stress the importance of the scientific benefits of keeping a fast, healthy ways to lose weight in Ramadan, benefits of consuming sunnah foods, some wisdom from the prophetic medicine that will help us in all aspects of our health. There will be also a question and answer period after the presentation, so please keep your questions until the end. A polite reminder from the Spiritual Society Masjid as well, there will be a iftar served after the presentation, and a quick note and reminder from the Sufi Council and Dr. Muffaqam Shah. We would like to state that this talk is purely for informative purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice for your own personal physician or other qualified health providers with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. With due respect, I would like to call Dr. Muffaqam Shah to the podium, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويشفي صدوركم مؤمنين وشفاء لما في صدور يخرج من بطونها شراب مختلف ألوانه فيه شفاء للناس ننزل من القرآن ما هو شفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين وإذا مرضت فهو يشفين قل هو للذين آمنوا هدى وشفاء. The dua I just recited are a select few from the Holy Quran that refer to shifa and healing. So I thought it would be appropriate to start off and talk about health and wellness, about some beautiful ayat about shifa. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us shifa, for all of our ailments. I'm honored to be here today at the Spiritual Society of Canada, and I'd like to thank once again Sufi Council of Toronto for all their hard work and in organizing today's event, as well as their collective efforts in the multitude of endeavors, community service that they do reach out every single time for. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala please reward them for all their efforts, inshallah. So I'm sure you've noticed today's presentation's topic is called Healthful Ramadan. And I specifically chose the word healthful over healthy because of the fact that the word healthful means favorable to the body and mind. So this encompasses all the small action decisions we make on a daily basis that contribute positively towards our overall well-being. And that's compared to healthy, which is just a state of being. So it just means free from disease or pain. So healthy is a state of being that we all want to strive towards. And how do we get there? Is through healthful decisions in our everyday lives, inshallah. So without further ado, let's start. And this is a quick overview of today's talk, so you all have a general idea of where we're going to be going with this. It's quite a vast topic, and we won't be able to do justice or cover all the bases in just 1 hour. So I'm going to do my best. And keeping that in mind, we'll just focus initially about some of the scientific portions and the medical part of this, about the diseases proper and how we actually treat them, and how you can take that advice into your own lives. And then we'll end off by going into the actual Sunnah and prophetic medicine, and then as well as a Q&A session. And again, once the talk is concluded, we'll have the Q&A session, as Brother Amr just mentioned. And so if you just want to keep your questions till then, I'll be happy to answer it. If there is a personal question that you don't want to ask and you want some privacy, I'd be happy to meet you guys after Maghrib, inshallah, and then we can talk one-on-one. I'm completely okay with that if it is a personal question you don't want to say it out loud. Alright? So, no doubt Muslims around the world, including myself, we definitely struggle with health and fitness in Ramadan. And many people find it difficult to find a balance where they can do justice to their obligations of fasting, but also do justice to their overall body and mental health. And here we have some stats from some independent research. They might not apply to all Muslims, but they are helpful to understand the terms of our trends in our ummah and how we can modify our own behaviors. As you can see over here, 93% of people know they do fast in Ramadan. Only 63% of people actually pray. So more people fast than they actually pray. Again, exercise. 89% of people know it's important to exercise in Ramadan. Only 10% of people actually do exercise. And weight loss, 60% of people actually say they gain weight in Ramadan. It should be the opposite. But 60% of people report gaining weight. So we're all facing these issues, and that's why we organize today's event, so we can address them and maybe make some positive changes, so we can actually move away from that. So as you progress through today's presentation, you'll find that I made a concerted effort to make it more visually appealing, conceptual, with various snippets from research articles, infographics, charts, images. That should make it easier to follow. But keeping this in mind, I'll make sure to present you the gist of each article infographic that you see on the screen. So you don't need to read every single thing you see on the slide today. I'll make sure you get all the main points. But if you are interested in going into more detail, I can definitely send you the whole presentation through email. So just some basic benefits that fasting has on our body. Mental health-wise, mental health has been shown to boost serotonin level, which is a feel-good hormone in our brain that increases your mood and increases symptoms of anxiety. The effects that it has on our brain, it increases levels of BDNF and NGF, which are basically just brain cell proliferation markers, and this boosts our cognitive function as memory and concentration in the long term. In terms of our cholesterol, HDL, which is our good cholesterol, goes up, LDL, which is our bad cholesterol, goes down. And as most of us know, LDL is usually the one that's involved in causing those plaques and the heart attack. So just fasting in itself is therapeutic for our body. That digestive system, this one's pretty simple overall. The fact that usually our digestive system's in overdrive because we're always eating processed foods and overconsumption of meat and lack of fiber. And then when we actually do start fasting, we're seeing a decrease in the risk of illnesses, and that itself is also a therapeutic benefit. Our immune system also benefits from this because we have an increase in the level of white blood cells and antibodies that can fight off infection. Hydration, however, that of course we are more susceptible to dehydration during Ramadan, so it is important for us to hydrate as much as possible whenever possible, so we can avoid the effects of dehydration. And then of course, weight. Fasting is probably one of the best ways if someone wants to start losing weight. It would be to actually fast. As nowadays research is showing that intermittent fasting, which is basically Ramadan essentially, and that's been shown to have benefit towards losing weight. And even for me personally, when I actually a couple of years ago lost all the weight that I had, they actually started in Ramadan. I made a concerted effort that I'm going to start this year, and I used Ramadan as a tool to actually start the proper eating habits and the timings, and that alhamdulillah is carried up till today. Sure. So definitely, if we make the commitment, then Ramadan itself will help us, inshallah. Sure. So before going into the disease proper, I want to point out that this presentation is no way meant to make anyone feel uncomfortable or self-conscious anyway. Everyone's trying to improve themselves, and everyone's journey is a different milestone. So I'm just passionate about this topic. That's why it's a very important issue, and I want to make sure that I want to drive in the overall positive message. But so having said that, the term non-communicable diseases seem pretty scary, but it's nothing but just chronic diseases, which we all know of. It's nothing but our heart disease, our cancer, our diabetes. That all is encompassed in the word non-communicable diseases. So, however, they're not. They usually are a longer duration, and they are a result of a combination of environmental, genetic, physiological, and behavioral factors. And they cannot be transmitted from one person to another, and hence they're called NCDs. However, as you can see by the above stats, by the WHO, they're the leading cause of death globally. 71% of all deaths globally, which is absolutely crazy. Again, we shed some light on some of the diseases that are encompassed in this whole thing: heart attack, stroke, cancer, chronic respiratory diseases, and diabetes. So what are the major risk factors for development of these diseases? These ones right here are modified by us: tobacco use, excess salt intake, as well as insufficient physical activity. And then we come to the ones that metabolic ones. As I'm sure you can all tell, these factors right here is blood pressure, overweight, obesity, hyperglycemia, hyperlipidemia. They're rampant in our community, are very common as well and globally. And what are the actual impacts of NCDs? Basically, what this slide says right here is that NCDs themselves have been shown to have huge impact on the actual socioeconomic factors of the countries themselves. So it may not just be the person themselves facing these diseases. It affects the entire community by and large. And then, as you can see over here, some alarming trends that is only expected to get worse. The trends all over the world: United States, Mexico, Canada. So something has to change in our community, and that will change, spark the change in our globally, inshallah. So the WHO basically says over here that the best way to control these diseases is not to put medication, or is not to put more effect on the newer types of procedures. It's nothing but just reducing your risk factors, which we're going to talk about coming up right now. And I like this kernel section of the cadaver to actually illustrate in all our presentations about how adipose tissue, which is known as fat, it gets distributed into every single part of our bodies and how it affects the functions of all the various organs. As you can see, the largest storage sites are the liver and the space between the intestines, and then of course underneath our skin. So the reason I like to show this is because at times we only see fat near our waist or underneath our skin, and we assume it's just a little bit, and that's fine. But this shows that there's a lot more going on internally for the body to have even stored that fat externally. So it's a little bit of food for thought for everyone. There are a few different ways that we can clinically see if a patient's obese, and it's best to always get quantifiable, subjective measurements rather than just eyeballing and just looking at someone and saying, oh, you look okay, you look fine, or you look a little bit overweight. So some ways to do that is just BMI. We use waist to height ratio, and then we also use waist to hip ratio. And everyone's always self-conscious about the way they look, so it's important for us to always make sure that we approach them with a good amount of sensitivity and try and help them find a plan to work with them. It's not enough to just tell someone you're overweight and then hopefully that changes them. It's better if we actually help them and give them resources to be able to change. So these are the reasons that have been mentioned for the obesogenic environment, which is basically increased portion sizes, increased energy-dense foods, and then our decrease in our expenditures as everyone has cars nowadays. We spend too much time on our computers. This is something that everyone usually knows, that why we're gaining weight as a general population. There are some usually reversible causes that are medical, such as decrease in thyroid function. Some certain drugs may also cause obesity as well. One thing I like to mention actually is that people who claim their obesity is genetic or khandani, where they have slow metabolisms, actually it's been shown that there's less than 5% of the variation in body weight is due to these genetic factors. So it's almost usually never genetic or khandani. It's usually because of our own doing. So which is good. It means that we can reverse it ourselves. It's nothing to be worried. It's not something medically that's scary. And this is just nothing but a small diagram about how we control our satiety and hunger. And it's interesting that even leptin, which is a hormone released by the fat cells, also plays a part in our hunger response as well. So something interesting just to wanted to show everyone how it's actually being controlled. And here we have some complications of obesity. So I want to spend some time on this one because it's been suggested that people at 40 years of age, if they're obese, their life expectancy decreases by 7 years. And for non-smokers, it's 13 years if you're a smoker. And then, of course, the major cause of death is coronary heart disease, as well as cancer rates, especially colorectal cancer in males and gallbladder, breast, and cervix in females. And most people who are obese do spend a greater portion of their lives active and usually disabled. And it also has profound psychological effects. Once again, another slide just showing some more of the vast number of complications. Really so many. Which is why I'm concentrating mainly on obesity, because it encompasses almost all the diseases that anyone could have a question about. Diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, cataracts, everything you can think about, it somehow comes back to obesity, which is why I want to spend time on this one. So the following explanation about body fat is very important, so please pay extra attention, inshallah. For some complications of obesity, the distribution of where the fat is very important, because increased intra-abdominal fat, or we call it visceral or apple-shaped person, compared to subcutaneous fat, what happens in the intra-abdominal fat is that fat, the inflammation markers, they go straight into the liver. And that liver dysfunction is what causes our diabetes, insulin resistance. So actually, where the fat is being stored directly also affects the diseases that are going to come from that. So unlike other conditions, the management of obesity isn't as clear in textbook. There's a lot of different factors that we have to influence of how we can treat obesity. And the most important thing, of course, is good patient adherence and then regular physician follow-up. So that makes it hard for us to choose the best option for the patient. You can see the examples here. We have, based on the BMI, we can see if they want to have drugs or surgery for them. But today I'll be focusing just on the lifestyle and diet modification for today's talk. But in the end, the main treatment modality doesn't really matter. The most important thing is patient adherence and the regular physician follow-up. So we can just basically divide it into lifestyle and nutritional modifications. The behavioral modifications that we just talked about, the obesogenic environment of increased portion sizes, not having enough energy expenditure, we can control that. The next thing that is very important is regular eating times and maximizing activity. And then of course, avoidance of snacking and the substitution of sugar with natural stevia. And then when we come to the actual nutritional therapy of how, as if we were treating someone who's obese, how it would work, the goal is to lose 1 pound per day. This is not normal. This is if you are already obese and you're trying to lose weight, then we do 1 pound per day. Other than that, 1 pound per day is not very safe. But usually we see a lot of industry has been developed due to these weight loss things, different fad diets have started happening. But all of them involve the exact same thing. A decrease in the amount of calories needed by 600 calories. That's all it is. No matter what diet you choose, you have to eat a little bit less than you require, and that'll allow some weight gain. There are some usual common side effects that happen due to weight loss. I've experienced these as well. It's a little bit of dizziness, sometimes headache and diarrhea and nausea. These are normal, and they're nothing but just the body using our fat for energy. So if you do start this, this whole chain and you do experience this, nothing to worry about. It's completely normal. So we've talked a lot about obesity so far, why it occurs, complications, the burden it has in the healthcare system. But now let's focus on some positives. How we can actually change, this disease overall. And some simple things that we can all start doing today to get the ball moving in the right direction. So, in the following slide, I'll just make some infographics that I think are a lot more effective at presenting this idea. They're easy to follow, simple, and they can be used by anyone. However, they can simplify what seems to be a monumental and daunting subject for patients. And everyone usually asks, well, what's the best diet for weight loss? And the truth is, there is no single best diet. The single most important takeaway point today, if you're going to listen to nothing else, is this: concentrate on whole foods, plant-based, minimally processed diet, which is rich in micronutrients, and focus on having 30 minutes of exercise daily. That really is all it comes down to. And of course, we'll go into those different things later on. But over here, we have some examples of some trademark diets: Weight Watchers, Atkins. I'm sure you guys have heard of this. Again, as we all said, the main thing of all these guys is adherence and making sure that the patient stays with it. Doesn't matter which one of these they choose. It's all about personal preference. But one thing that I think that is easiest to follow would be the DASH diet, and you see above right here. It's high in fruits and vegetables, low-fat dairy, whole grains, poultry, fish, nuts, and low in saturated fats. It's the easiest one to follow for most of us. And I'll show you guys some examples of that coming up. Once again, trade names right here. We have the DASH, AHA, and this is basically showing you guys, it's a research article right here, that all these diets, they all show the exact same thing, that when they're properly followed, common theme across studies is that if they are followed, we do have good patient adherence and we do have weight loss. And that was the main key. Not which diet they followed, but the fact that they actually stuck to it. Which is why most people say, I tried the diet but it didn't work, so I stopped it. And that's not the right mentality. We should just stick with it, and it will bring the results. And so far, the most part, science has kind of stalled in trying to find the master diet or the best one. But instead, they're focusing on behavioral modifications to facilitate long-term adherence, which is what this little snippet just says right here. Right. So this slide right here is very important. What we have is eating the most of these types of meals, which is our vegetables, legumes, lentils. Moderately, want to have some protein-rich foods such as fish, seafood, eggs. But least, this is the most important, fats, sugars, salt, and alcohol, butter, oil, tea, cream, coconut milk and cream, processed meat, fried foods, basically what everyone loves. Right? You gotta really, maybe once or twice a week would be maximum, but not every day for sure, if you're trying to lose weight. And I want to make a quick point about these plant-based protein sources right here. These ones are very, very important because there's so much evidence showing just how amazing these things are for health, and there's so much more economic for us to eat lentils, black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, peanut butter, almonds. These ones are much more nutritionally dense compared to just flesh meats. And as you'll see in the upcoming slides, the Prophet ﷺ also even recommended some of these as well. There's a famous quote that states, "Eat your food like medicine, or else you'll have to eat your medicine like food." It's very powerful. These are some, while I was talking about the infographics, simple things we can all do just as in a pictorial form for you guys. Eat lots of fruits and veggies, moderation, consistency is most important. And one thing I like to stress is the one plate rule. I actually follow that myself. If you are ever at a wedding or an event or at some kind of a restaurant, you don't have to just seclude yourself. You can follow the one plate rule, which is basically have what you want in moderation. Once that one plate is done, you're done for the day. So that way you can still eat out, you can still be social, but you don't have to go over the top and splurge every time you go out to eat. Another good rule to follow for everyone is 80-20 rule. So most of your diet can be these healthier options, and then 20% can be substitute with foods that you actually want every now and then. And then most people focus on the 10% right here, which is when should I eat, how much should I eat, what supplements should I take, should I run without eating food. That's just 10%. The 90% that will get you results is nothing but just being in calorie deficit, which is just eating a little bit less than you need, and then having a good amount of exercise and consistency. That's really 90% of it. That really is the secret. And then for Ramadan, actually, one important thing that we can actually do is, in suhoor time, is eat plenty of protein, eat lots of fruit, lots of vegetables, and then make sure that you're hydrated. That itself will blunt the hunger and chill out for the rest of the day. And this template right here is very simple to follow. After your plate should be some kind of low-calorie vegetables, be it broccoli, be it cucumbers, carrots, and then 1/4 some carb source, 1/4 protein. If you follow that every single day, you will achieve the results, inshallah. And one thing everyone always asks is how to burn belly fat, but I've shown you in the previous slides. That's not the way it works. The distribution is much more complex for fat. So if you want to burn belly fat, if you have a little bit of belly fat, you still have to follow the exact same procedure, and it will come off. And this research article basically just tells you that there is diabetes patients who are able to achieve remission to a non-diabetic state and get off their diabetic drugs purely by just lifestyle modifications and nutritional modifications. That's all they did, and they were able to reverse diabetes, which is a monumental study. And this site is a great resource I use all the time. They basically have peer-reviewed nutrition research, and what they basically do is they spread the word amongst the common man about how we can use lifestyle and nutritional therapy to treat as well as even reverse many chronic conditions. And I'll show you some of their articles that come up right now. This one basically is done by Kaiser Permanente, which is a big U.S. Insurance agency, and they even recommended eating more of a plant-based diet for patients. This one basically just says that 13 diabetic men and women were able to reverse diabetes. And then over here we have the exact same thing saying that we want to emphasize minimally processed, nutrient-dense foods. And now we're coming to the actual sunnah foods proper. So up until now I've shown you how convinced science is that proper lifestyle and nutritional changes are the cornerstone for us regaining our health and preventing deaths due to chronic diseases. But here you'll see that this advice was already laid out 1,500 years ago. And it's truly amazing, subhanAllah.
Go to it.
Yeah, I am. And you'll see some right here. These are some images. So over here, we have some examples of barley, dates, figs, grapes, honey, melon, milk, mushroom, pomegranate, olive oil, vinegar, water. A common trend here is, once again, they're nothing but just natural occurring fruits, minimally processed, whole foods. That's all it is. And that's what science has been saying for some years, but it's already been laid out, mashallah. So there's even more of them actually. Fenugreek, coriander, honey. These itself don't need, these are just basically excerpts from some of the different narrations about when Rasulullah mentioned these. So we don't have to go into every single one of them, but the fact that they are here, the fact that the Prophet mentioned them should be enough for us to just believe that it is a benefit to us. And that when we follow, we will achieve results. So more examples would be citron, pomegranate, thyme, and then of course quincy and barley. And actually one of the things that even Bibi Aisha was actually, showed the recipe of actually how the Prophet would actually prepare some of his barley. And this is all taken from this book right here, Prophetic Medicine. And there's even some excerpts from here that I'll share about physical exercise. So every illness has a cure, and when the proper cure is applied to the disease, it ends. Allah has not sent down a disease except that He has in addition sent down its cure. And in addition, this one right here. Right, the son of Adam never fills a vessel worse than his stomach. The son of Adam only needs a few bites that will sustain him, but if he insists, 1/3 should be reserved for his food, another third for his drink, and the last third for his breathing. I'm sure everyone's heard this many, many times, but still, it's so simple how in just a few number of words, the Prophet ﷺ was able to encompass everything that we need in order to guide us in the right path in terms of our health. And once again, over here, we have more excerpts saying basically the same thing, that physical activity was beloved to the Prophet ﷺ, and of course it is important for us as well. And here we have, I wanted to end on this quote actually. So a lot of work, of course, is being done on obesity, on diabetes. So many of these people are researching it, on how we can prevent it and whatnot. But though Ramadan is coming to an end, hopefully some of the lessons you learned today can carry over for the rest of the year, and maybe for the rest of your lives. But one thing I want to stop with this quote is that amana is the Arabic word for trust. As Muslims, we believe that our bodies are a precious trust to us from God, and we must be serious about taking care of this gift. In order to treat our bodies with kindness and respect, we must educate ourselves and our families on healthful practices. Living a balanced, healthy life has a long history as a part of Islamic tradition. It's time to revive moderation in our communities, eating, and activity patterns. I found this quote to be very, very inspirational, and that's why I included it, about how, it's basically the theme for today's presentation. And once again, right here, just a small disclaimer. And these are the references I use if you guys want to use some of them. And once again, Jazakallah khair to everyone for coming out today and patiently attending to today's talk. I'd like to once again thank Healthful Toronto for inviting me out today, as well as the Spiritual Society of Canada for hosting us. And I really hope today's talk will benefit everyone of you in some way there, inshallah. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to take them now. And of course, if you like some more privacy, you can definitely meet me after Maghrib prayer, inshallah. And hopefully we should wrap up the session by about 15 minutes so that we can have the dua, inshallah.
We know we have a dua that the Spiritual Society performs by 8:40 going into iftar. So for right now, we'll do the question and answer period. If anyone has questions, if you come to the mic, you can ask Dr.Muffaqam. Does anyone have any questions relating to their health?
You can ask me maybe.
Yeah, you can ask me.
Even general questions, that's fine. You have to be careful.
थोड़ा सा ब्रीफली उर्दू में भी थोड़ा सा समझा देते हैं क्योंकि हमारे सीनियर बैठे हुए हैं।
ये तमाम हज़रात इफ आपके पास कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं रिलेटेड आपके हेल्थ के बारे में, डॉक्टर शमीम साहब कारी शमीम साहब आपको भी डॉक्टर बना दिया कारी शमीम को। तो इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चंस तमाम हज़रात आप आइए और क्वेश्चन करें आपके हेल्थ के बारे में। ये फ्री एडवाइस है। जी भाई, यू हैव अ क्वेश्चन?
और जो रेगुलर शुगर है वो कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट है। बॉडी अलग अलग किस्म से इसको यूज़ करती है। तो नेचुरल जो भी फ्रूट्स है उससे शुगर आपको बिल्कुल डरने की जरूरत नहीं है। बस ऐसी स्टडीज भी है जो डायबिटीज को 25 सर्विंग्स फ्रूट्स दिए दिन में, देखिए कैसे क्या होने का है, और उन लोगों में ना शुगर ना बढ़ी, बाज़ वक्त शुगर कम हो गई उनको। तो नेचुरल शुगर से बिल्कुल डरने की जरूरत नहीं है आपको, बिल्कुल नेचुरल है और उसमें कुछ भी नुकसान नहीं है उसमें। और जो पेस्टिसाइड वो है, पेस्टिसाइड से भी डरने की जरूरत नहीं है, एज लॉन्ग एज आप अच्छा वॉश कर लिए फ्रूट्स को। तो जो डोज है पेस्टिसाइड्स का स्मॉल अमाउंट उसमें, दैट्स नॉट इनफ टू कॉज मच हार्म। तो fruits in general, don't be afraid of them. Have as many as you can. They're beneficial. They're nature's cure.
अस्सलाम। How to fast burns your fats?
जी
इसके बारे में थोड़ा बताएं। Fat.
फास्टिंग के टाइम में ओवरऑल
Overall.
You burn your fats.
Fats.
जी
On your body
जी
extra fat.
तो ये बॉडी आपकी फैट जब भी यूज़ करेगी जब आपका एनर्जी कम हो। तो अगर आप मेंटेनेंस पे खा रहे हैं तो बॉडी फैट नहीं यूज़ करेगी। आप थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा बिस्किट खा लिए तो बॉडी उसको फैट बनाती है। तो ये ऑफ कोर्स ये 5 6 इयर्स 10 इयर्स 15 इयर्स होते होते एक 5 6 20 30 पाउंड लोगों में फैट आ रहा है। तो इसको कम करने का एक ही तरीका कि आपको बॉडी को थोड़ा कम देना है। जो 600 कैलोरी जो बोलते हैं 600 कैलोरी मतलब आप समझ सकते हैं कि एक प्लेट चावल कम कैसा बॉडी को कम रोज मिलना चाहिए। तो जब इस बॉडी को रोज फैट यूज करेंगे तो एक ऑलमोस्ट एक 8 9 10 एक साल लगता है। लेकिन वो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है कि दिन ब दिन करते जाना है, रिड्यूस करना है। तो बॉडी को थोड़ा थोड़ा कम देना है और वॉकिंग करना है। अगर अपना मेंटेनेंस पे खाए हम लोग तो बॉडी फैट नहीं यूज करेंगे।
So there is a very common problem right now in our small kids. They have a problem with the talking, right? They are lately talking now in compared to the past, right? Like after up to lots of kids are going to the speech therapists and those things. Is there any food food program concern regarding that, like for the speaking to the kids, like?
Yeah, you're talking about delayed development. Right? Delayed development. Right? So there are some studies being done by people. They can trying to link some certain foods and certain diseases to delayed development nowadays. Child, you are right that it wasn't as prevalent before delayed development, but more study has to be done. So the best answer would be we don't know yet. Because to give a definite answer would be need more information. If there are studies that have been done, people have noticed what you've noticed that there are studies being done for that.
Dr. Saab, if you can put the main flyer page up.
Right.
और शायद तुम्हारे ऑडियंस है उन्होंने yeah, if you can zoom into the picture. No, from the projector. Oh, can you do it? Dr. Saab, zoom into it. ये जो आपकी पिक्चर थी
Previous picture?
हाँ जी ये जो
Okay.
हाँ जी तो हमारे जो ऑडियंस है शायद डॉक्टर साहब ने अर्ज की थी कि वो तकरीबन 300
ये नंबर लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे।
तो डॉक्टर साहब ये आपकी तकरीबन वेट जो थी तो कितनी थी एंड कितनी देर में आपने ये वेट लूज किया और कैसे किया?
ये जो है इसमें 311 पाउंड का था मैं। और देखते हैं यहाँ पे डेट्स हैं ऑलमोस्ट 9 months में कम करा एंड अगेन लास्ट 2016 के रमजान में शुरू करा था मैं। तो इसलिए मैं आज ये अल्लाह से बहुत ही आमिर भाई ने पूछते कि मैं फौरन जी यस बता के मैं डेफिनेटली इस बारे में बात करूँगा कि ये जो मैं कह रहा हूँ जो भी ये टिप्स है it's exactly what I follow, nothing different. It's just that I've gained more knowledge actually as to this entire process I'm sharing with you today. So it's nothing but just patience. If you do want to lose the exact same amount, it's nothing but patience and following this every single day for many months, and you will achieve the results. It's nothing but that. You don't have to get discouraged that you're not seeing results. You just have to keep going at it, and it's very simple. Like I said before, eating minimally processed whole foods, nutrient dense, and 30 minutes activity a day for many minutes is all it takes.
How long it takes you to lose the weight?
Well, this one was a little bit extreme because, like I said, 1 pound per day was my goal because I was extremely obese. But for most people, about 2 to 3 pounds a month is okay if you're at that rate, which is usually what happens.
So a lot of our seniors have a question about uric acid. Especially in the later ages of life, a lot of complications due to uric acid.
Yeah.
So, what are the natural foods they can consume to reduce that?
Right. So, क्या
हमारे जितने भी हमारे जो सीनियर हैं उनको एसिडिटी का प्रॉब्लम है, यूरिक एसिड का प्रॉब्लम है, तो कौन सा फूड वो खाएं जिससे वो कम हो?
जी, तो यूरिक एसिड का मेन मतलब जी गाउट जो कह रहे हैं, गाउट में ये सर्टेन जॉइंट्स में इन्फ्लेमेशन होता है, सर्टेन जॉइंट में दर्द होता है, बाद लोगों को गर्मी आती है उसमें, बाद लोगों को बस भी आता है उसमें, ये यूरिक एसिड का मेन। यूरिक एसिड जो बनता है सबसे कॉमन जो फ्लैश फूड्स करते हैं, चाहे वो बीफ हो, चाहे वो बाज अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह से अपने पास तो अल्कोहल का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, लेकिन अल्कोहल भी बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है उसमें। तो ये कम करने का बॉडी में क्या होता है, जब एक्सेस यूरिक एसिड बनता है तो ये जॉइंट्स में डिपॉजिट होते हैं, डिपॉजिट होकर ये क्रिस्टल्स फॉर्म होते हैं। क्रिस्टल्स फॉर्म में तो जब जॉइंट मूवमेंट होता है तो उसमें दर्द होता है लोगों को। तो over years and years and years of course उसमें बाद में दर्द लगेगा। So इसे कम करने के वास्ते और एक presentation है मेरे पास gout के बारे में, अगर चाहे तो बाद में भी कर सकते हैं और एक future time में। लेकिन gout में again उसका basic ये है कि it's the same thing essentially, anti-inflammatory foods. Certain foods है कि cherries देखेंगे कि cherries जो है सो बहुत ही beneficial है। कि एक pilot study में उन्होंने एक patients को 25 servings of cherries दिए थे, almost 15-20 servings दिए थे उन्होंने। तो उससे उनको सेम जो ड्रग्स ले रहे हैं अपने पास फिबॉक्सिस्टैट या अपने एलोपेरिनोल ले रहे हैं अपने पास तकरीबन पॉपुलेशन में यूरिक एसिड कम करने के वास्ते, उसका सेम इफेक्ट बस हम खाली चेरीज खाने में हुआ वो बस स्टडीज में। तो अगेन एंड देन ओवरऑल उसमें कम वेट रिडक्शन भी काफ़ी फ़ायदा हुआ है, वेट रिडक्शन करने में भी उनको दर्द का। तो यूरिक एसिड को जो भी इसको बीमारी है अगेन उन लोग ये है कि वेट रिडक्शन थोड़ा रिड्यूस करिए, और जो फूड्स कॉज कर रहे हैं उसको, ये फ्लैश फूड्स है अपने अपने कबाब और अपने समोसा, ये सब कम करने से और इन्फ्लेमेशन और एंटी इन्फ्लेमेटरी फूड जो बेरीज है, फ्रूट्स है, वेजिटेबल्स है, ये बढ़ाने से आपको ये काफ़ी फायदा होगा।
ये तो स्टार्ट नहीं
डॉक्टर साहब ये हमारे इनका क्वेश्चन कि इनका ब्लड प्रेशर बहुत ज़्यादा रहता है जी, तो उसको कैसे कंट्रोल किया जाए?
जी, ब्लड प्रेशर का डेफिनेटली ब्लड प्रेशर इज द नंबर वन लीडिंग indicator for us for heart disease. ब्लड प्रेशर कंट्रोल करना बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है। ब्लड प्रेशर का सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट फैक्टर ये है कि जो रेजिस्टेंस है बॉडी में, तो आपने जो ब्लड वेसल्स है इसमें अगर आपने को फैट जमा हो गया तो बॉडी को थिक हार्ड हुआ तो बॉडी को और हार्ड प्रेस करना पड़ेगा। तो इसको कम करने के अपने को ओवरऑल कोलेस्ट्रॉल कम करना है बॉडी में, और ये कम करने के जो आपको बता रहा था इसमें कि जो एंटी इन्फ्लेमेटरी फूड्स है ये अपने को यूज़ करते हैं। लेकिन इसके साथ साथ जो अपने मेडिकेशन पे आप मेरे ख्याल से होंगे कि बीटा ब्लॉकर्स और जो डायरेटिक्स होते हैं, कैल्शियम चैनल ब्लॉकर्स जो है, इसके साथ साथ एक्टिविटी 30 मिनट्स एक्टिविटी, तो अपने बॉडी को जो रेजिस्टेंस है वो कम होता जाएगा। एंड आप वो जो ऑलरेडी जमा हो गया ब्लैक उसमें स्लोली अपने को कम करना है, और वो एक ही तरह से कम करना है। जो ये गुड फैट जो रहता है अपना HDL, ये अपने जैतून के तेल ऑलिव ऑयल में रहता है, तो ये अपने फिश में रहता है, एग्स में रहता है। ये जो गुड फैट्स है वो जो बैड फैट को स्लोली दे विल स्टार्ट टेकिंग अवे, इसको निकाल देंगे। तो इसमें आप ज़्यादा तवज्जो देंगे।
डॉक्टर साहब हम हज़ार पूछ रहे हैं कि वो डायबिटीज़ के बारे में जो थोड़ा आप बयान करें कि क्या खाने से बढ़ता है। मुझे पता है कि वो आपने अर्ज़ किया कि डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ डायबिटीज़, तो उसके मुताबिक जो है ना आप थोड़ा सा बयान करें। जनरली टाइप A, टाइप B, टाइप 3,
Okay, so
or खसूस type 2.
right, the most common is type 2. Type 1 is basically, for juvenile when you आपकी body आपकी बिल्कुल इंसुलिन प्रोड्यूस ही नहीं करती। And type 2 is insulin resistance, के तकरीबन अपने पास पॉपुलेशन जो है इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस टाइप डायबिटीज के, जब आपने जो भी सेल्स है बॉडी में, हर एक सेल को शुगर की जरूरत है, तो हर एक सेल को शुगर अंदर वापस आने की इंसुलिन की जरूरत है। तो इन सब जो सेल्स इतने बढ़ते हैं अपने ताकि वो फैट के सेल्स हो, तो आपने जो बताया था आपने कि जो अपने फैट होता है अपने बॉडी में, स्पेशली अपने पेट में जो फैट है, तो ये डायरेक्टली लिवर में जाता है। इसके जो फैक्टर्स है, निक्रोसिस फैक्टर कहते हैं उसको, तो वो जो फैक्टर्स है लिवर में वो एक्चुअली कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं डायबिटीज को बढ़ाने में। तो सबसे पहले कॉमन है कॉज है कि वेट रिडक्शन करना। उसकी सेकंड ये है कि जो तो वेट रिड्यूस करने से इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस कम हो जाता है, क्योंकि इंसुलिन जो भी है वो काम आएगा। तो सबसे फर्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट ये स्टेप ये है। सेकंड स्टेप ये है कि जो आपको जो फूड्स है, तो फूड्स आपको ये लॉन्ग टर्म स्टोरेज फूड रहना चाहिए, ताकि अपने ये हेल्दी फैट्स जो है अपने नट्स है, सीड्स है, और अपने ये हेल्दी फैट्स जैसे कि एग्स कहा था मैं, ऑलिव ऑयल कहा था, ये जो लॉन्ग टर्म स्टोरेज फूड्स है जो एकदम से बॉडी को स्पाइक नहीं करते, ये आप खाने से आपको बॉडी को स्लोली इंसुलिन रिलीज करने में ईजी है। अगर आप जैसा कि अपने ये कैंडीज या इवन शुगरी फूड्स, इसमें क्या है एकदम सडन लोड होता है, तो बॉडी को इंसुलिन सडन प्रोड्यूस करने की जरूरत पड़ती है। तो ये अपन अवॉइड करें तो डायबिटीज कंट्रोल भी हो सकता है आराम से।
माशाल्लाह। Thank you, Dr. Saab. We have so many questions, but with limited time, unfortunately, and now, mashallah, mahfil जो है ना वो बढ़िया। तो आप conclusion करा लें please, आपकी presentation की, और फिर हम दुआ फरमाएंगे। Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, the question answer period was the last of the point. Yeah, Alhamdulillah.
That's it?
Yeah.
You want to thank the audience?
Yeah. So once again, Jazakallah khair to everyone for coming out today and patiently and attentively listening to today's talk. really happy, alhamdulillah, that everyone's able to get some benefit, hopefully. And I want to once again thank Sufi Council of Toronto for inviting me over today, as well as the Speech Society of Canada for hosting us. And I really hope that today's talk benefits everyone, maybe in some way or the other, inshallah. And if, once again, if anyone has any personal questions, we're going to have a dua session now, and then we'll have iftar, and then we'll have maghrib. So after maghrib, I'll be here. You can find me. You can have your personal questions if you want some more privacy. I'll be happy to answer those, inshallah. So once again, thank you very much. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah, Dr. Saab, to come here at the Spiritual Society Canada. And this is the hosting, this is Sufi Council's home masjid here.
Okay.
So we thank Sufi Council too, and as we most welcome you here. Next time, inshallah, we'll have more time. Inshallah, we'll arrange one more program for you. And inshallah, there will be sisters here too.
Yeah.
So we will have a more question and answer program, inshallah. Okay. And Jazakallah, everybody, to listening, Dr. Saab. And Dr. Saab will be here after Maghrib. If you have any question, we can ask him personally. Assalamu इंशाल्लाह हम डॉक्टर साहब का तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार करते हैं और सूफी काउंसिल टोरंटो का भी कि उन्होंने ये मौका हमें मैसर फरमाया कि आज हुआ है हमारे